I'm Timmy Mitch, and this is my TED Talk on why the Pacific 12 Conference fell and how it matters. The Pac-12 was one of the Power 5 conferences in college athletics, featuring student athletes from 12 institutions, and it was originally founded in 1915 with 8 original members, but has expanded to 12, and unfortunately it will cease its existence on June 31st, 2024. These 12 institutions are all Pacific-based, including the University of Washington, Washington State University, Oregon State, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Cal Berkeley, Stanford, Southern California, California, Los Angeles, Arizona State, and Arizona. The Pac-12 has a very tradition-rich on-field and on-court standard for all athletics, as it was given the nickname the Conference of Champions. For many, the Pac-12 in previous decades was thought of as the premier college conference in both athletics and academics. As you can see by Cal Berkeley and Stanford, the conference had very strong academic prestige. However, lately in college athletics, there has been a major shift in the priorities of some institutions. The former priorities used to be geography, straight geography. You wanted to play all your nearest, for the Pac-12, Pacific schools every single year. Now, you're just going to go to whatever conference will bring you the most money. So for example, there used to be 5 power conferences: the Atlantic Coast Conference, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and of course the Pac-12. Now, there are just 2, the SEC and the Big Ten, as these are the powerhouses. Now, like I said, each institution receives a chunk of revenue money from the TV revenue that they bring in. So for the SEC and Big Ten, they pay each of their institutions over $50 million annually to each institution. Now, the problem with the Pac-12 was, while they were still a very high prestige conference, their media deal was paying these institutions under $30 million. Now, as you can see, this all goes by TV networks, as the SEC had partnered with ESPN and ABC, and of course the Big Ten had partnered with CBS, NBC, and Fox. Now, the Pac-12 did try to come to an agreement, as they tried to ink a deal with Apple TV+. This was close to coming through. However, Apple TV Plus could not offer a number that was big enough for these institutions that could match those offered by some power conferences. Now let's talk about how this impacted an everyday student athlete's life. So we all like to focus on college football, college basketball, and the main revenue producers. But let's take a look at women's volleyball, or maybe soccer or something. See, as I showed you on previous slides, the games would just be on the Pacific Coast. Now this is a map of what the Atlantic Coast Conference will be in the year 2024. As you can see, it stretches all the way from Miami to Palo Alto. Now, how is this going to affect a student athlete every single day if they are going on random Tuesday nights across the country for their games? This is not positive for any student athletes. While it might bring in money, this will also severely impact athletic budgets from the schools, as they will have to be funding all of this travel. Now, in order to prevent this travel, there have been some discussions about possibly for non-college football and college basketball, maybe meeting in like Dallas, Texas to play these games. But here's why this isn't going to work. If you do that, then you take out the student experience of students being able to recognize and go to all of these non-college football games that their school is offering. So if you take that away, then students aren't getting a true college experience, as they won't be able to attend these games. Now let's all talk about how this happened. So it really started in 2021 when 2 teams from the Big 12 Conference, the University of Oklahoma and University of Texas, left to join the SEC. It showed that these institutions' priority, as like I said, was money. So this started out with the University of Southern California and UCLA leaving for the Big Ten. The The Pac-12 was then in panic mode as their death note was when Washington and Oregon followed those two schools to the Big Ten. The rest of these schools scrambled knowing that the Pac-12 was not going to last. As you can see, these 4 schools went to the Big 12, and ridiculously, Stanford and Cal went to the Atlantic Coast Conference. Now let's look at a really sad part of all of this. This is what greed can cause. If you look at the other 2 institutions that I did not name on the previous slide, that would be Washington State and Oregon State. So these 2 institutions had been members of the Pac-12 since its inception back in 1915. Now, they did not get the invite to these bigger conferences. They will have to drop down conferences and make significantly less revenue, as they will make close to $12 million annually compared to the $50 that their in-state rivals Washington and Oregon will make. This really takes another toll on student athletes, as they will not have near the opportunities that they used to have in the Pac-12 in order to further their athletic experience. In conclusion, the Pac-12 fell in a combination of greed and the changing times of college athletics. It's a really sad situation, and unfortunately, I cannot say that the maneuvering of conferences in college athletics is over, as over the next couple years, we are sure to see many other institutions from power conferences bolt for the Big Ten and SEC. Thank you.